Okay, good morning or good afternoon or good evening, Philippines. Good day all over the world. My name is Airnel Abarra, the one of the co-founders of Pinoy Athletics, the leading and independent athletics news and views site in the Philippines as far as Filipino track and field news is concerned. And with me today, we have a special guest who just recently won a gold medal at the 2023 Asian Athletics Championships in Thailand, our very own Robyn Brown.
Hello. Glad
Okay,
to be
so
here.
yeah, nice to meet you, Robyn, and thank you for accepting our invitation to be part of our website of our blog. So this will be broadcasted in Facebook page of Pinoy Athletics and also of our website. So first thing, maybe tell something about how did you get involved in athletics and how is it feel to be competing for the Philippines and how did you get started in athletics?
Oh man. I started in athletics my high school freshman year. I didn't start hurdling until my senior year. That's when I absolutely fell in love with hurdles and track and field. I've always known that I've wanted to be part of the Philippine national team. And my sister was the first one of my other sister or me and my other sisters to join. She was part of the football team, and that inspired me even more to want to pursue joining the Philippine national track and field team.
Yeah, thank you. So, in terms of your participation in the recently concluded Asian Athletics Championships, do you expect, of course, everybody expects to win and of course to be victorious, but do you had really had in mind that this is different? This is something that maybe I'll do something great this time, or is it really out of, should we say, not really luck, but really fortunate events that happen?
We've been training for this moment for a while now. It was definitely I wouldn't say unexpected, but I know that we were running against high caliber athletes, and it was pretty much anyone's game this time around. Leading up to this, we've um, been making podiums, so eventually I knew that my time was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course, you're training in the United States, and one thing that most people, especially in our experience in the social media accounts, that how would you say that, of course, by citizenship you're Filipino, but does it really something that is it really sometimes challenging to see that you're representing the Philippines, but of course you're based in the United States? What are the opportunities and also challenges that you face having the situation being a Filipino American athlete?
Yes, I think the situation hasn't changed as much being on the Philippine national team, so much as how I was growing up. My mom is from the Philippines, from Imus, Cavite, and my dad is from the United States. So I think struggling with the connections of my heritage and where I come from has been an ongoing, um, I wouldn't say issue, but occurrence through my adolescent years up until now. Um, Definitely, there's just been a pull of where I'm from and who I am. I never chose to um, be born in the United States. This is something that just happened, and um, living through here and finding my connections to my mom and my family has been definitely something that has been an ongoing um, findings. And I know that there's definitely been polls of me being American, being Filipino, and not being Filipino enough and not being American enough has definitely been something that we've been, or I've been finding.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been so much, in the track and field aspect or the national aspect, but also like within myself.
Yeah. So of course you were trained and also had the opportunity to be raised in the United States. And of course, I'm sure for the past years that you've been representing the Philippines, that you've been in Manila and also at home in other provinces like Ilagan elsewhere. What things that you observe among our locally grown, trained, and managed athletes, both in the national and the grassroots level? And then, based on your observations, what should be done and what should be continuously done? And what do you think that we should focus more in terms of raising the standards of excellence and performance of Philippine athletics is concerned?
There's definitely a lot of athletes that are, what do you say? Um, there's a lot of talented athletes that I've seen in the Philippines. Looking at our national team, we just need resources. I think for them, for the most part, I've talked and spoke with some of our teammates, and resources is definitely something that we need for them, whether it's supplements or better education on like training. I think for the most part, it's just lack of. And I understand it's been a little bit hard and difficult to train and work. Most Philippine um, athletes are full-time athletes and they also go to school, and it's hard for for them to find another job as with in conjunction with training and studying. And so that supplementation of where those resources come in to bridge the gap essentially is definitely what they need, or what we need as a team. I think that's definitely been, I think the disparity. With me, I've been working here in the United States, and obviously the pay is different as I train. So I've been able to support myself alongside with the association. However, I think that's just the difference I've seen.
Yeah, of course, being with the grassroots coaching for the past 14 years, I started in 2006, and I've seen both athletes in the national and also in the grassroots level really struggling on this matter. And do you think it's really also about coaching? Because, of course, you're coach and training in the United States, and most of our athletes, especially those who are aspiring to be members of the Philippine national team, are having only, based on my humble opinion, have limited opportunities to be coached by someone else. Do you think this is really important that athletes should have the freedom, the the right to choose their own coaches? And what do you think on the circumstances that most of our local athletes should are mostly being have the don't have the opportunity or limited opportunity to be coached elsewhere, like in the United States, like here in Europe, in Hungary, and Germany, whatsoever, and elsewhere?
Definitely the exposure to other training facilities, to other training programs, to other races in a sense. I think it's hard for everyone to compete in the same country a lot of times, and sometimes with the same coaches as well. I think giving an opportunity to open up to train with other coaches helps build a better understanding of what track and field is and the science that goes with it, and how many coaches believe in, different programs and what have you. And I think collectively that would definitely open up a lot of doors.
So do you think if the athletes in the local scene will be given the opportunity to choose their coaches, whether if it's, for example, in the context that most of our local athletes who are not yet part of the national team are coached by their local grassroots athletes. But then, in order to be part of the national team, they need to switch coaches who are who are endorsed to them by the federation. Do you think this system works, or is it really better if the athletes, especially in the local level, should be coached by someone who discovered them, who nurtured them, or they should follow whatever the regulations are implementing or the regulators are implementing?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm not entirely familiar with the matter, but however, I do believe in collaboration. I feel like if there's more of a sense of collaborating with, the original grassroots coach with the national coach, to open up conversations about what works best for the athlete, because essentially not every athlete works the same, and not
Mhm.
athlete is linked with one particular coach. Um, in my case, it's completely entirely different. I just happened to go back to my coach, and we've been working out really well. However, it's just a better understanding of what the athlete itself needs more so than what the coaches need. Because I truly believe that athletes, there's so many different aspects of what one athlete requires and what they work best with. And so I think opening up that conversation between the coaches would be, I think, optimal than one taking over the other.
Yes, because it's very important that it's really a coach and athlete relationship, especially in athletics, because it's an individual sport. So, yeah, I agree on that. So I hope that our local scene will realize this, that athletes should have more opportunities to be open towards coach by, of course, with more at par or excellent coaches elsewhere, like what happened for example with EJ Obiena. If Vitaly Petrov wasn't able to discover him, I don't know if he will be reaching his level. And the same thing with also with most of our Filipino American athletes. You have the USNCAA, you have a lot of events in the United States where you can be exposed. It's like you have most of the races. Do you think it's about high time that the Philippines should open more opportunities by providing more events in athletics, especially in the grassroots level?
I do believe so. I think athletes that are able to be exposed to other athletes around the area, I think creates a better I think it raises athletics altogether more so than just keeping um, local meets. It's hard to really expand on athletics if everything is still, you know, separated. Um, it's a little bit hard. I know that, as I said before, resources are the biggest issue, an ongoing issue. But if we can find and develop ways to bring, all the teams together, or in a way for to bring those opportunities for everyone, I feel like that would definitely give a stronger value to athletics as a whole.
Yeah, thank you. So, of course, moving forward, of course, you had a great experience at the Asian Athletics Championships, and of course, we are quite happy that you and EJ won gold medals, and also some of the records in the Philippine athletics are being broken. So, based on your observations, of course, you mentioned about resources, but do you think in relation to that, how about the culture that you see among other athletes in the Asian countries? Do you think there's an impact towards how this culture can also affect the athletes themselves? Like, for example, how the teamwork, how the connection with fellow athletes, and also the general public as a whole.
Um, I For this meet specifically, I feel like it just depends. I think a lot of countries have a backing of athletics and some don't. There are countries that have full support, that pay athletes athletes a lot more than other countries. It's just dependent on what the government and the associations decide to provide for them. Um, Definitely for big countries like Japan and China, I have seen a difference with athletics, um, and in many of their sports more so than a lot of us Southeast Asian countries, because we are smaller, and our money is dispersed and divided a little bit more, I'd say a little bit more equally among all the athletes, more so than the larger countries. But I think that I think it's just a little bit different. I think it depends on what sport is, the highest, the most popular, and then it kind of
Mhm.
trickles down from there.
Yeah, thank you. So now, of course, if I'm not, am I right that you and EJ already qualified for the World Athletics Championships in Budapest? What are your expectations, and what are the things that you're aiming or preparing when you arrive in Budapest, and also what the things that you are trying to do in order to improve or to have an optimal performance?
Yes, thank you. This is going to be a stepping stone for me, to perform at a better level at Asian Games, and to prepare me for hopefully Paris 2024. I think that's my ultimate goal. However, right now, looking ahead, it's well, I'm using these World Championships to better prepare myself for Asian Games. It's definitely something that I'm very excited about. I missed the mark last year and it was devastating for me, but to be here is definitely exciting. I've been training. We've been working as I came back from World Asian Championships um, to hopefully perform. I'm hoping to beat the Philippine national record again.
Hmm.
If it happens, then I would be overjoyed, and if it happens at Asian Games, or I'll be ready.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a good, should we say, dress rehearsal for the Asian Games, the World Athletics Championships. But I must say, given the degree of the number of the participants going to the World Championships, which is, according to statistics, the third largest sporting event after for Olympics, World Cup, and World Athletics Championships. That's something that's very exciting to see you, and also for our public's attention. Pinoy Athletics is the lone media from the Philippines that will cover on the spot World Athletics Championships in Budapest because I'll be there on site. Yours truly, Airnel Abarra, reporting for Pinoy Athletics. So of course, we look forward for more interviews there and live shots during the event. So that's one thing that we would like to advertise. So support Pinoy Athletics. Of course, we might be an independent social media and news agency, but we appreciate your support by liking or share our page. So, last two questions. So, tell us something on how do you cope up with, of course, with your daily life? Of course, you said you're working full time and also you're training. So, what are the things that how do you manage your time in terms of training, and what do you think is the value or attitude that one athlete on your level should have or will definitely not forget?
Ooh, so I'll typically disperse my day with between work and training, as you
Mm-hmm.
said. I think for me, it's more so a drive for me. I think knowing that I'm able to do both and still focus on track and field has definitely been a major triumph for me. Um, I think continuing to like quote unquote hustle
Mm-hmm.
um, has been a large to help drive me to becoming successful. However, I think dispersing my time has been fairly limited.
Mm-hmm.
Working a full-time job and training takes a lot of my day. But I think for me to get to this level has just been definitely meant a lot more to me. I think more so because I know how much heart and soul I've been putting into making this work.
Exactly. So last question may be related to something that the general public or the Filipinos don't know about you. Do you have any something like to share your favorite things, or do you have like not really unusual but like specific rituals or things before you go to a race or something? Just only for common interest. Yeah.
Yeah. I typically love to do a little like solo dance battle with myself. I think just to get the nerves out. I like to put on some like really like good fun music and I like to dance a little bit
Mm-hmm.
on my own before a race. That definitely helps me calm down and focus.
Oh, so at least since Filipinos are good in dancing, so that should be something that what a coach should have in terms of training. So of
Yeah.
course, yeah, it's very interesting. So in terms of and do you have any? Of course, I know that of course Filipinos love to eat or something. Do you have any favorites whatsoever? Of course, very common is adobo, but of course, do you have any specific things
Yes.
that you like in the Philippines when you go home, or something that
Um,
you would like to be served on?
yeah, I Dinigon is hard to find,
Mm-hmm.
but Dinigon is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
favorite meal.
Yeah.
My mom like bought some for me for my birthday last year. Um, Sinigawan, I love. Taho is definitely something I've loved since a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So eating those two things, obviously halo halo, I can find anywhere, which is amazing.
Yeah. Good. Mhm.
But those three.
Okay, so at least now we know if we meet in Budapest that where to bring you. But of course, we have only one Filipino restaurant here. But of course, you should try also Hungarian cuisines. That's
Oh,
something that
wow.
what worth of interest to our public as well. Yes. Of course. If you go to the World Athletics Championships in Budapest, whom among the top athletes in the 400-meter dash and 400-meter hurdles that you will say that you will be a little starstruck, or if anything that like, or like something that would be you will be amazed to see, or should be you like to race with, should we say? Yeah.
Ooh. I look forward to racing all of them. I have raced against Sydney
Hmm.
before, like way back when. Um, I'd love to race against Dalila. I thought I'd had an opportunity to race against her, um, earlier this season, but I didn't see her in the race. I
Hmm.
would be overjoyed if I had the opportunity to.
Hmm. Yeah, and maybe also the likes of the European runners like Femke Bol and also
Yes.
Anna Rizhikova of Ukraine. Yeah, I saw her many times, and I must say that I think it will be a close fight between Sydney
Oh
and
yeah.
Femke. And of course, the
Yes.
other contenders, there are two hurdlers from Ukraine, Anna Rizhikova and another one, her colleague, who are also formidable in terms of 400-meter dash and 400-meter hurdles. Yeah. So I guess we end our short interview now. So thank you very much for the time, Robin, and I appreciate your time for Pinoy Athletics, the only and still independent news and views authority in Philippine athletics, and the only Philippine media covering live on the spot the 2023 World Athletics Championships in Budapest. This is Airnel, aka the Professor Abarra, signing off, and see you and mabuhay ang atletang Pilipino. And cut.